Support your locals, starting with Space Smoke Shop, located on 125 East Pennington Street, Tucson, Arizona.
Space Smoke Shop features local glass, cheap tobacco, and any drink you can think of. We're also a hookah lounge and a venue. Like us on Facebook to keep up with shows, deals, and products.
Don't forget, every second and fourth Tuesday is Punk Rock Tuesday at Space Smoke Shop, 125 East Pennington Street, located in downtown Tucson, Arizona. And be sure to tell them that you heard about them on the GMR Podcast. Who is Jean? That's a question that quite a few people already know the answer to, and now it's time for you to find out who is Jean. Go to whoisjean.com, that's WHOISZHON, and you can watch the entire 20-episode series for free. It's the story of Jean, an alien, or is he, who crash-landed on Earth many, many years ago, or did he, who has now turned himself in to the authorities and claims he'll answer all of their questions. Or will he? Check it out. Whoisjean.com. WHOISZHON.com. GMR. You're listening to the GMR Podcast. You can hear the GMR Podcast on Stitcher. Stitcher is radio on demand. Download the free app today. Listen anytime, anywhere.
Create custom playlists. Over 20,000 shows to discover. Rate and review my show, the GMR Podcast, on Stitcher. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
On demand and on the go. No downloading, no syncing, no wasted memory. Stream your favorite podcast. Don't have Stitcher? Download it free today at Stitcher.com or in the App Store.
Coming in 2014, the director's cut of Writing Frenzy. Frenzy, the hottest comic book on the market. Billy Shaw, the screenwriter assigned to write the Frenzy movie. One problem. Billy's totally blocked. Now, Billy travels to the comic book store that the creator of Frenzy died in an attempt to inspire himself. Will it do the trick? With help from the store's owners, John and Pete, it just might. Writing Frenzy. It's about the process. The new comedy from Pondo Enterprises, coming in 2014.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Mark over there with him to figure it out. I thought maybe he might be eligible for the free class, but I guess if his mom is able to pay for it.
What, at Access Tucson?
Yeah. So
put down your $5 deposit. And,
so they both went over there and talked to somebody, and they came to the conclusion that he can take the class next month. And you don't have to cry. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's public access.
Yeah, they give you the $5 back after you take the class, but we'd always just roll that into another class deposit. That's how they get you.
I never paid a nickel.
Then you get a stamp on the back of your
I
card.
always got waived. They always waived my fees because I'm poor. And I also I think I'd volunteered enough.
Yeah.
That maybe they were like, this is okay.
Volunteer cablecaster.
I wouldn't pay for public. I guess, no, I wouldn't. I'm not going to pay for any right now. I don't. What?
GMR
Podcast. It's Mark Brady and Marty Catola.
And Ray Daniel.
Yeah.
And this is episode 80.
Gene couldn't make it this week.
Now, the show that we did before, called The New Show, which is now The Old New Show, which you once said was the worst title you'd ever heard, that only made it to 79 episodes, so we've just surpassed episode numbers with this one.
It's been a while, man.
But if Gene and Marty were here this week, that would matter. But
it would, but they're not here,
instead,
so
we have I'm Ray Daniel.
And I'm Mark Brady.
And it's still the GMR podcast, just no G this week. G, what happened to G? Show 80.
What happened to him?
So what's up with that Fantastic Four movie?
Yes.
And I don't mean that new one. I'm talking that one that I thought was from the 80s. Turns out it was from the 90s.
They're making it in 92.
You know, I would have worked that movie at Century Park had it come out to the theaters in 94 like it was supposed to.
I would have gone and seen it.
Oh, yeah, I definitely would have seen that. And I probably would have been pleased with it. It's slightly better than one of the made-for-TV movies like Hulk meets Thor. But it's not nearly as bad as you think. I'll tweet the link out to you because it is on YouTube. There was a Fantastic Four movie made in 1992, and you've never seen it, more than likely. Crazy.
And now it's on YouTube.
Yeah, like most things. And I thought it was actually decent. It has some cornball moments, of course, but they did a good job, I think.
There was no...
For a cosplay movie of the week.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
It's a little better than Combat Academy.
Combat Academy is a classic, dude.
Yeah. But it reminded me of that. It had that kind of feel.
I wish I went to a Combat Academy.
Yeah, that's what you
in
were
the
saying
80s,
on there. Yeah.
right? You don't think that'd be cool?
You know, missed opportunity. Well, when that time machine comes around.
Oh, so you've been watching Big Brother?
Oh, of course. It's starting to heat up. Devin's game is still blowing up by the second, and looks like he might be backdoored, or who knows.
Do you subscribe to the Twitter feed where they just give live quotes as shit is just happening throughout the day?
Yeah, I read a lot of those on the Hamster Watch as well.
Yeah.
All about the Hamster Watch this year. Got to know stuff as soon as it happens because everybody else is knowing it, and you know.
We were doing that last year, but then you were like, "No, I can't do it anymore."
Sometimes I like to watch the show and then find out. It makes it a little more exciting. I thought the thing looked like a precursor to the. Well, actually, no. This was made after the first Ninja Turtles live-action movie, and I thought it looked kind of similar to that.
I liked it. I think that's where a good chunk of the budget went.
Oh, yeah.
Making that costume. And the Doom costume is what sold me on the movie. When I saw it in Wizard magazine, the stills.
We weren't used to cosplay at that point.
Yeah, so that was a fabulous, almost a fantastic Dr. Doom.
Yeah, and for 1993, you weren't seeing that walking down the street. We just saw a car with bright red fuzzy lips driving down the street, so you know it's 2014.
That ain't right.
Oh, now last week you said, what were we doing 20 years ago this week? Well, the real question was, what were we doing 18 years ago this week? It was the last show. Show 79 of that fabled old public access show we talk about sometimes, and people listen to the podcast and go, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't understand the references. So that was crazy.
Did we do a 4th of July show that year?
It was a July 5th show.
Was it?
Yeah.
In your yard?
Yep. And the week before, Robert got beer poured on his head.
Ah.
Which really had a lot to do with the show coming to an end.
There's also because the one and only camera we had was just on a tripod with some wires going, and here are just random trunks that, let's just put this on Robert, that Robert brought down there.
Yeah,
because we were local drunks,
they're
right?
At my house.
You know what I mean? Me, Ray.
Yeah.
Ray was there, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Ray was there.
So it was an early GMR podcast.
Chris was Chris there?
I think Chris was there the night of the beer on the head, yes.
And then he was wise enough to think, hey, I'm just not going to come next week.
Yeah.
He knew you well enough to know that something was going to...
And Ray was there for the 79th week.
That's right.
GMR.
It's a podcast, people.
It's always been a podcast.
Yeah.
Even when it wasn't. We're now available on cassette tape. For those of you who
That's
prefer
right.
the format.
Just right into our
Twitter.
right into our Twitter. Give us your
GMR Podcast.
yeah, and then and send $5,
Yeah, because
and then we'll send you.
tapes aren't cheap.
You could even pick out the episodes you want.
Yeah.
Or you could just ask for some random episodes. And
Random.
either way,
Oh, I was listening to an old show where Robert was on, the one and only episode where Robert was on, actually.
yeah.
And you were asking him about, well, what about random access? How did that? And I think he thought instant access. He didn't answer the question. So we still need to get that answer from Robert. For those of you who listen to show 23 and we're still wondering when that question was going to be answered.
I don't think he understands what I meant by random. Yeah, random access was the spin-off show.
Exactly. Where he did with the Mangelli kid, where they were commenting on Star Wars.
That's right.
A
And
heavily edited version of Star Wars.
then he got all chapped because I cut his head into the opening on
yeah.
Electra's head, and he's like, "I don't want to be on no bitch. I don't put my head in no bitch or something like that."
Yeah, I'd forgotten about
He was very upset about that. I thought it looked awesome. GMR.
I know at one point you show up on the screen and then somebody gets chapped and then you're like, well, take me off then. And then it just goes back to Robert.
What?
Now, who the hell is that?
Is that Chris? Is that Ray?
Well, let's hope that it's somebody we know. What's up, dude? What's up? We're doing the podcast.
What's going on, man? I thought it was probably Chris.
We knew it was going to be Chris.
Yummies.
Wow.
You bought us some gay old yummies?
Gay old yummies.
Gay old yummies.
Heck yeah, buddy.
Wow, dude. Duncan once again getting us all sugared up. I don't think you've actually been on the podcast.
I have been on the phone. I have not.
Yeah, he was on once.
That was when we were watching a movie, though, right?
We were watching a movie.
Track of the Moon Beast.
I thought the last time he came over with the...
You haven't heard from Ray
No.
You've not heard from him?
this morning. He sent me a text with one of his many phones.
Oh, yeah.
He's got, what, 20 now?
See, I told you he's got a billion phones.
Yeah, the phone number you gave for me didn't seem like a real phone number, so I didn't follow up on it.
I wonder how many Obama mama phones are out there now.
1623 something or another. I'm like, what?
Hey, Obama's giving free phones.
Yeah. We're back in the cassette tapes now. I got 48 blank cassette tapes. I don't know what I'm going to do with them.
Can I buy one from you?
Who listens to them?
I have them in my house.
Oh, you have a tape deck?
Yeah.
I'll make you a
kids-
weird mixtape.
Make me make me
kid-friendly.
one kid friendly and then one, you know.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
kid-friendly.
one kid friendly because the kids use this. That's awesome.
That's funny, dude.
Oh, dude, I have a tape deck. Remember I told you I have a
Yeah.
laser disc?
You're all about the 80s.
Yeah, and we still go to Casa Video. Which Casa Video now
Support
is
your locals.
Heck yeah! Have you seen what they're doing there?
No, what are they doing now?
They're starting. What are they doing? They're opening up a bar kind of.
They're gonna start serving tap beer.
Wow.
I know.
Get drunk and rent movies.
The last 80s movie. What's the last one we just 2 days ago?
I don't know. We do 80s Sunday movie night with the kids.
So they've already seen the Goonies, which the PG rating in the 80s.
Oh, it didn't mean anything.
No, it's like, oh, you're like,
We
oh
watched
my
it.
god,
We
they just
were
said
fine.
ass. Oh no, the kids are like,
They're not gonna listen. I'm like, oh my gosh, we were watching. Have you seen the Goonies recently?
ass and son of a bitch were the word.
Yeah,
for the
you know,
80s,
and-
yeah.
And so you think about that.
And we
you're
just
like,
laughed and laughed.
Yeah, but for the kids, they don't know those words yet. Well, except for Theo Louie, and that comes around every now and then. But yeah, this is different. Our PGs now are PG. But the PGs back then were, dude.
And RPG is Robert Pena Gonzalez.
Can I have one?
Yes.
All right, can I buy one?
Sure, dude. You just take it.
Oh,
I got 48 of them.
all right, I'll just take it.
Just
I'll give
take
you
it.
$1.
Put a good use. All right.
Because you might find some more. Oh, this is.
It's gold.
See, the kids are learning how to, make their own songs. Like, dude, no, you can play that.
E.G.'s mixtape. You mean I gotta listen to the whole side?
Yeah.
You can fast forward it.
Remember when you used to do your love songs back to somebody? You know, you make a mixtape the old-fashioned way.
I remember we'd make mixtapes that everybody liked, and then they get passed around from one person to another. Yeah, you got my good mixtape. I want that back.
Oh, and I found them at your mom's house. I have a stash of a bunch of I should just bring them over here. OG mixtapes from back in the day that just have random. You know what? I'm just gonna bring them.
There's like 25 of them.
25 of just random stuff.
There could be gold in there.
I know.
Who knows?
I'll just bring it. Mario want to listen to them. Yeah, I found the. I
was gonna say, oh
that's all.
no.
You know, and I made that with just a recorder every night when I went home. You know, and just made noises.
You know, all analog. You didn't have a computer then.
You didn't need You don't need a computer. Well, you need one now, sort of.
Wow.
This is tight. I forgot the little guy height. You know.
HDMI.
I know, but still, it reminds me of that whole OG stuff. No.
I'll put that song on the tape for you. 'Cause I actually have that.
So, like, what are you guys doing right now?
Well, we have a radio podcast show that we do every Friday.
Podcasting.
So there's no picture. We just record our voice like a radio talk show, and then we post it online.
Oh, okay.
It's called
And
the,
how many minutes
Podcasting.
do you get?
We do about a half hour a week.
it's a GMR.
Yeah, Gene, Marty,
Podcast.
Bray.
So that it goes. So they have to like buy it on.
No, it's free.
Oh.
You can get it on iTunes. And
Kind of like how I found Lana Del Rey.
Gotcha.
I know. I remember when she
And
first
how many
came out.
followers do you have?
about 20.
That's awesome.
You got to start somewhere, right?
But, you know, I found.
How many years have you been doing it though?
Well, the podcast's a year and a half. So.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, it's
20.
funny because weren't we just talking about Chris seconds before he came in here? About you were here, well, not here, but here at the show the night that Robert got beer poured on his head.
Oh yeah.
And then you didn't come back the next week. Like you're like, I'm not gonna show up because who knows what could happen. We bring bums to your house.
Where was this?
One thing when they were in the alleyway, but it's another thing.
Marty's yard back when he still lived with his mom.
Oh, this was about a year before Philly's Finest, I think.
Yeah.
When Philly's Finest was still a chain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. Well, it was a franchise. You
Yeah,
could
I think
buy,
there's
and
only one left
It's
now.
the one up here. Now there
And
is.
people were
It's
like,
still open.
there's
On
still,
Speedway?
there used to be a chain. People tell me like,
yeah,
dude.
man.
So the one on Speedway in Wilmot
Yeah,
is
it's
still
still
going?
going.
Yeah, that's
Oh
the
my
last
God.
one.
Mitch
yeah.
is still going. That's crazy. That's crazy because it's like right next door to Beyond Bread.
I know.
Yeah.
Beyond Bread's taking it.
Yeah.
They're doing everything. They're doing all the catering.
Wow, that's crazy.
And
Did you still have the rat tail at that point when the beer was being
I
poured on?
did because
Robert's
she's the
head?
one that told me to. She's like, "Wow, you're really from the '80s. You need to cut that tail." And then I remember I went with Jake the Snake. And I remember Jake, his mom, we were drinking, and he said, "I'll buy you a king cobra if you let my mom cut your tail off." All right, so I bought a king cobra. My tail was gone. And then
I know we should have saved it like a baby book or something.
Dipped it in
Have the
gold.
kids look at it. This is what a tail used
This
to
is
look
Daddy's
like.
tail used to look like.
Ew.
Yeah, well, they're growing up all old school, all '80s. They've already seen. What was it? How many? We've seen all the '80s movies.
We saw Rad.
We
the
saw
other
Rad,
day.
remember Rad?
What
They
else?
like Rad.
Gosh, I don't know.
There's so many. The Goonies, of course.
I can't think right now. It's like a blur to me because
Because
it's
it's
like
all
we've
80s.
already seen it like 20 times.
Superman
so.
2, Richard Donner version they really like. So, Superman 3, Supergirl.
Oh yeah.
She-Ra, they've seen all of She-Ra, all of He-Man. They actually go to the
Our
Galaxy
Galaxy.
and they go get Star Wars and they get their grab bags, and so they're stuck in the '80s, which is they'll be really cool when they get older, because it should unless the '90s.
You're from the
gets
20th century.
Yeah.
That's old.
They're about, wow, look at your Walkman.
I can put Monkey back in print now.
You could.
The preferred format.
Oh, you can. You know what? And you have the original
Limited
Monkey.
edition.
It's right there.
I think you have one too still.
Yeah, but Marty always took care of this
Yeah.
stuff. If it wasn't for this guy right here.
Somebody had to archive it.
I know. It was like, if it wasn't for this guy, we wouldn't have any of this. We would all been like,
Room
"Remember
super
that?"
fan.
I know. We'd been like, remember? No, I don't, dude. You remember? I don't remember.
I'll be playing weird stuff. Like, I found some stuff not that long ago you've probably never heard.
You're
And you'd
probably
be
right.
like, what is that?
That's why I'm just going to bring the tapes over here. And
Yeah,
be
who
like,
knows what could be on there? Maybe more fuzzy bootay or...
Awesome.
That came from James's
I'm very
archives.
proud of that, by the way.
And you know what's crazy is even before I got with her, she
Wow.
had a copy of this.
Uh-huh.
She found it from
Well,
got
because I was friends with Sean before I even knew Chris, because
Wow.
I was
Isn't that crazy?
dating a guy that was friends with Sean. And he came over and he was like, you have to listen to this tape. And we were
Isn't that
like,
crazy?
all right, cool. So when I met Chris, he's like, I'm in a band room. I was like, oh yeah, you're friends with Sean. It's like, 6
Yeah.
degrees, probably 2 degrees of separation in Tucson. But like, yeah, it was like,
the vortex.
yeah. Nobody leaves.
Well, they do leave, but they always come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just missed making CDs. You're like a year or two away from when people started making discs.
I know. We're just like right there. What I wish we could get is if we could get Mike Dunn when he did the. Oh gosh, if we could get his recordings on the. I forgot what the heck it's called. It's not a reel to reel. It's his dad's. If we could get his dad's, because I've asked him many times and he just kind of like, oh, I gotta look for them. So I don't know if
It's
he.
like, well, how much would it
does
cost for you to look for them?
I already told him. I said, "Hey, I'll give you $80," and he goes, oh, "All right." And he never called me back. And this was so I don't know if he, you know what I mean. I don't know if all his dads are gone or he was going through problems with his girlfriend during that. So, but I wish we could get all
yeah,
of that.
then you could redo whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Beef it up, tear it apart, and we can. And it would be cheap to do it now.
Yeah.
Just get a DAT recorder, and then we could. It's like a 4-track, 8-track.
Just import it in the computer, and
You
then
can
you
probably
can just
do that.
manipulate all the tracks. Do new vocals or whatever you want. Punch-ins.
Maybe I should talk to him. Well, I'll give him
Yeah.
one more phone call. Be like, hey, what happened to those dads? Well,
Uh.
he did that a bunch of times. We even went in the studio with him, and I mentioned him, and he's like, oh, I got to look. I got them all packed away. So usually, somebody has them, and they go, well, but
Yeah.
it sounded kind of like, yeah,
Uh-oh.
there was a fire. That's crazy. All right, well, we're going to head. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We got to make it to downtown before 8. Well, I got my iPod. I'm gonna be able to download. Yeah, I can download the podcast.
You can. You know how to get to it?
Absolutely, I've seen it before.
Because I got the cards. We need another card.
I'm gonna have to listen to myself on the radio.
Yep. Episode 80 is this show.
Oh, why don't you guys? Well, you need to drop some off at my work. Dude.
Oh, all right. I hear you want some
Because-
more.
Yeah, because I put them on like James. I've been giving James business, because they're all in the catering and weddings and yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada.
So, Gene, I have to tell you a story since we're
What's
here,
that?
because you and I really don't know each other all that well, but
Met a few
but
times.
met a few times, right? So the first
Yeah.
time I ever met you, Chris took me to
Jean
like this.
Oh,
The only way I can describe it is like a punk rock party, but we were like really young, and you guys had this party house like downtown somewhere, and there was like all these like gutter punks there, and you guys had like a fire out front, and like everybody was drinking.
Oh, Mickey was there.
And you came outside, and
Oh, yeah.
and Chris introduced me to you, and he's like, "This is my friend Gene," and you're like,
No,
hey.
Gene Mont. We never
Gene
called
Mont,
him Gene.
And I was like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And you're like, "Hey, Chris, I want to show you something. Look at this." And you pulled out this knife. I kid you not. It was like this long.
Sounds about right.
And you're like, "Look, dude, like this is." And I was like freaking scared out of my mind. I was like, "What the hell is this guy doing with a knife that looks like that?" And anyway, it was just like wild because I had never been in a scene like that before. And it
I was like, oh
just-
no, we're going to this party. I think we went to Los Betos afterwards.
I have no idea, but
And
that's
I
like
must-
my first impression of Gene Mont. Like,
Cool.
God, this guy's gonna kill us.
That's like 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when was the time that you and JJ on the 4th of July were out on the street in front of Duncan's house And then Linda came out and said, "You guys really shouldn't be out here at 3 in the morning."
That was the last year Robert was here, the last 4th of July, so I'm not sure what...
Okay, so that was after the fact. Didn't you end up
Yeah.
sleeping in the back of Duncan's house?
You guys, your wedding anniversary is on my birthday.
Oh,
So
really?
I'll always
So
remember.
you
that.
always
I remember you
remember.
guys were sleeping in the back. I remember
Yeah,
Robert always used to sleep in the back of my van. I used to get up to
No.
go to work, and he'd be back there sleeping. I go, Robert, what are you doing? Sleeping.
oh, you didn't let us sleep in your van, dude. It was
That little back
the
practice.
4th of July.
Oh.
It was
We
the
were-
4th of
we were-
July,
We're reading it?
And-
Probably, if Robert
and then
was
it was like
still
1
here.
o'clock in the morning, and everybody was gone but me and JJ. And that girl Linda comes up and is like, "You guys really shouldn't be out here alone." and that kind of freaked us out. So we went in your backyard and just sat back there for like an hour, but it was all windy and shit. And then we were like, "Fuck, this sucks." And then we went and pounded on your window and woke you guys up. And then
Oh, wow.
we went and slept in the old jam room, that old jam room on that dusty floor.
Wow.
And as soon as 5 o'clock in the morning came,
You guys were out.
we were up and at that bus stop, man.
Linda, what was Linda doing there?
Probably, who knows?
And how do we not know she was in the house?
Well, she wasn't in the house. She was out.
Yeah.
She was outside. It was just me, JJ, and the moon and shit. And it's like, you guys shouldn't be out here.
It was
So
4th of July.
I know, but
so we
still,
always
it's
used to
like-
party there until
Yeah,
we had kids, and that was like, all right. Yeah, so
That's
before all
crazy.
that, yeah.
Wow.
and now it's time for the after show.
But this is the unreleased Fantastic Four movie from the 90s. It's totally family appropriate, right,
Oh,
Gene? This is about
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Nobody ever saw this, so you'll probably enjoy it. It's
Okay.
cornball, but
We
you
were
know.
watching Hell's Kitchen yesterday.
Oh
you
yeah,
was telling me
I
about
love that show.
Chris loves Hell's Kitchen. I love it too, but anyway, so the
No, I don't
guy
like
from
cooking shows or
who
anything.
did all the
like
Stan-
comics with
Stan Lee.
Yeah.
It's stupid, you know.
He was hilarious. He was so funny. He was like, God, this is crazy. He's like, I gotta write a story about stuff like this. It's awesome.
All right, cool.
You guys watching Big Brother?
No, I've
but
never
you
got
told me. I know.
into
Yeah, he was
Big
telling me.
Brother.
Yeah,
Very
the
cool.
guy I work with, his wife is in there.
Oh, that's cool.
It's
yeah.
just crazy.
Is
So
she on there
is it on
yet?
air now?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so maybe
She's
we'll
on
watch
there?
it just because
Oh.
there's a local.
What's her name?
Christine.
Christine. Oh, okay.
She's doing pretty good.
Is she being
Is she?
stupid?
No, she's
Okay.
doing good.
But she's married, right?
Yeah.
So no drama yet.
No, nothing like that.
Oh yeah. he's-
So how is the airtime then? Like she's there. Is it live? Like.
Oh yeah, they're living in a house for 3 months, and somebody gets kicked out every week, and then the last person standing wins $500,000.
Right, but I mean, like
Wow.
she's not home. Like it
Oh no,
hasn't
she's
been-
in LA
she's there.
right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
So she's already wow. So they do it pretty close because you know they usually don't do that with them.
It's pretty intense. And then I'm also watching Last Comic Standing because that's on at 9 o'clock.
Oh,
So it's like-
I love.
You get 3 of them. I get Hell's Kitchen, then I flip over to CBS, and I got Big Brother, and I flip over to NBC, and I've got Last Comic Standing. So that's a pretty full night.
That is wow.
Oh, gee.
I know, right?
Why do I have all these?
No, because I don't want to mess them up. I'm gonna put them at work. All right, goofies, we're going.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, man.
Yeah, dude. All right, well, let's find Ray Daniel.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, somebody ought
What does
to.
that mean?
Our listeners are looking for him.
Oh, he hasn't been
Yeah.
here in a while. He was at Irma's on the 4th of
Yeah, I
July.
thought, where were you guys? I was waiting for you guys.
Well,
He,
they were at a
uh,
party, and I was just, yeah.
Because I made some killer burgers.
He actually,
I
Ray
know.
actually, he had the flu on 4th of July
Oh,
and was like
jeez.
out there, and Ray was helping him grill or
Well,
burgers.
my partner
and
was
crap.
sick too, so you know, I couldn't believe I was out there. I was like,
Stop saying partner.
I know my
My-
business partner. I know it's you know nowadays you know I'm like my partner's in the back. Let me bring him out.
Like, who?
Yeah.
Coming out. What?
Yeah.
Oh, in the back.
My
what?
partner, he's the worst at it, man. You know, he's all my partner, Chris. No, Jim, you can't say that, man.
Maybe he feels different about you.
This could be. That's why we got the flu.
Oh, wow.
And with that?
With that, we're out of
Done
time.
for the week.
Yeah.
You guys have a safe ride.
No, probably not.
That sounds inappropriate, but give it a shot.
What does a gay horse eat? Hey!
You're so cheesy. That's a good one.
All right, you guys be careful.
All right.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Check you later. Thanks.
Later.
Later. Wow, wow. Wow, 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 wow, wow.